Oh yeah, dude, this is way better. Are you kidding me? All right, boys, so I got another one for you here today, and we are just continuing with what we've been doing with doing an individual juiced atlas region, and this time we added expedition. So per usual, we use quantity tablets with extra breaches and, extra logbooks or rare monsters or whatever, but, we always put quantity on our magic tablets, or rare if you're using those. And then, a big part of our strategy is Visions of Paradise, which allows us to run the maps twice that are within the circumference of the tower that you put it in. So we usually use one of these, and then we fill up all the rest of the towers with quantity. So pretty standard. I'm not going to go too deep into it. If you want to kind of more deep dive into the strat, there's been 3 or 4 previous videos prior to this where I go a little deeper into it. Again, maps, bunch of rarity, quantity, magic monsters, rare monsters, pack size. 8 mod corrupted is always good, but they get rippy, etc., etc. And then we use distilled paranoia. So this is the loot from this region right here. So we ran these over here. Some of these were pathing, so we didn't get to actually juice them. We just, unfortunately, I should have left these and went around, but I was just a little impatient and wanted to do it. But as you can see, we have the region here. We did have a citadel that we were able to run twice with the Visions of Paradise tablet, so that was pretty good. But again, as you can see, not a ton of maps, about 20 maps or so, give or take, similar to the other regions. As you can see, these ones here, I died on these. They do get, rippy when you run the 8 mod corrupted, but again, it's been pretty standard where I rip 3 or 4 of them, in each section. So again, 20 maps, give or take. And, like I said, the loot is pretty impressive. We got 16 divines, 2 reliquary keys. Again, we haven't had citadels in all of our regions, so there's a bit of an asterisk here. But again, these are worth quite a bit. Whatever, 50 exalts or 550. So probably we'll say 500 exalts or whatever. So that, those are pretty good, and we haven't had that opportunity in some of the other juice regions. So those are kind of whatever. But what I did want to do is, as you can see, we got a ton of the artifacts and whatnot. They're not worth a lot. The coins are worth like 1 for 2 exalts, and I think these ones are worth whatever, like 1. So it's like whatever, 3 of these for 2 exalts, right? So again, it's, they're not worth a lot, but they stockpiled pretty well. And if you're, doing some reforging and stuff and you wanted to do that, that would be good. And early league, obviously, this would be a lot more lucrative as far as this currency is concerned. However, the rest of the currency is pretty wild. We got a ton of exalts, a ton of chaos. There's 20, 40, 60, 81, 20, 40. So 140 chaos. There's probably 350 or so exalts, 16 divines, 7 annuls, 14 chance, a bunch of splinter stuff, and then on top of that we even have a bunch of chancing bases. This is the first time I've had to use another tab. The one tab has been enough for all the others. We got a bunch of tangle tongues, an Andivarius, some grave binds. So again, we got a few. And what I did want to do is I brought up, if you guys have been watching, then you're probably aware. So I do have the other kind of strategies, and I wanted to kind of compare and contrast here. So if we go, if we're looking at the loot here, and then this was the loot from, and again, this is a little bit different too, because, I made this, whatever, exalts have gone up to like 350 or 350 for a divine. Now when I made this, they were 200, and this is also prior to the patch, so I wasn't picking up as many splinters. And this was the strongbox breach strat, which was, again, it was good. We got quite a bit. We got 10 divines here and all that. We would have got considerably more of these if it were the post patch where it just drops them all in a stack. This would have probably, we would have had at least 50% more, because I would leave a lot of the individual splinters on the ground. So for this was heavy breach and strongbox. And then we also had the wisps, which was really bad. We had 6 divines, but we also, we sold something that was worth 3 divines, but we only dropped 6 total. We got a lot of reliquary keys from that. The currency was okay. We got quite a few chaos and stuff like that. These were also probably, these were pretty rippy as well. And it just, it was the wisps were just really, really bad. So again, splinters were fairly similar. Currency was pretty rough. And then the other one we did was the Asmiri bosses, which again was fairly good. I mean, we got 8 divines, some keys. We got a similar amount of chaos, a similar amount of exalts, and then we actually did much better on the tablets. We got 2 visions of paradise, which are like 60 chaos right now. And I didn't get any. I really didn't get a whole lot of. I didn't really get a whole lot of unique tablets and stuff like that. We got a wrap. The bosses was actually fairly lucrative. The Wisp bosses, especially kind of mid league or mid character. You're in your like high 80s, early 90s. A lot of the tier 5 rares that were, because it drops a ton of tier 5 rares. So if you're actually looking to drop your own items, or just it's earlier in the league where these really good items are going to sell, and they're not like mirror crafted and stuff like that. It was pretty good. So I was actually impressed with the Asmiri bosses, and that might be something I do like mid league, next league. But with that being said, so those are the 3 we did prior to this one. As you can see, Expedition is crazy. I am contemplating starting next league. Obviously, depending on what the new mechanic is and stuff, but I will probably start Ritual and Expedition, and then probably trickle into Asmiri bosses, and then late game probably just go back to the kind of standard Breach strategy. But again, this was pretty fun, and it was different. And so just to kind of show my Atlas, what I will say and kind of what I did, and I'll put a clip up on the screen while I'm explaining. But the one that I kind of moved it around a little bit and tried a few different things, but my focus was to just add more monsters. So we added more rare here, we added more runic monsters, and then I just used 1 explosive just because I don't like sitting there messing with it and having little groups pop up one at a time. So if you use the big circle at once, everything just kind of explodes. You can pop everything. It's quick, and you can kind of get out and just move on with your map, so you don't get stuck there kind of futzing with things, So that was the strategy I went with, just to add as many monsters as I could, and the 1 single explosive. And then Breach has not changed. The Atlas tree, we're back to kind of the older one, where we're just, the more modifiers on your map, the better, and we're juicing all of our explicit modifiers and precursors as much as possible. We travel through the shrines. They're nice. They last a really long time now, so, you can either use whatever it is, 3 here for shrines, or you can use 2 here for quantity of Waystones, so it's worth the point to just come this way. That's it. Ritual, we pretty much stayed away from it. Delirium, we're still just on the 3. I haven't found any use. I should go do the last one. I just it's not fun, and I don't see any reason to have it necessarily for emotions. And that's that, guys. So again, pretty good. I'm pretty impressed with this. I'm going to gamble this away and working on my bow. So here we are. If you guys want to check that out, I've been trying to craft it on stream. We've been whittling it and all that kind of stuff. This is where I am now. So obviously I got to get the fire and the reduced attributes off. So we'll continue with that. But all right, almost forgot about the Gamba. So got all this to corrupt. I'm going to see what we get out of the reliquary, so we can corrupt those, cut those, and then we'll do this. Alright, well, we'll corrupt these. So we have an and various. These are pretty good. 11 divines. I don't think that's correct. But they're like 2 or 3. This just has attribute modifiers and stuff. But yeah, so there are a couple divines. And then we have 2 of these that are worth using. Omen. This one, I don't think it is. Grave binds. Alright, let's hit it. I didn't hit that yet. I was like, nothing. Okay, chance to poison. Okay, 2 chance to poison? Weird. And then stun build up, so those are dead. This... Oh, this overcapped on mana. Oh, and spirit. Wow, okay. That actually might be kind of nice. I don't even know... That's a lot of mana. That's actually pretty good, dude. Maybe a couple divines. But either way, kind of cool. Alright, what happened? Oh, this got skill speed. That's kind of nice. Couple divines. My mouse died. So, hang on. Alright, we're back. It gave me the warning, but I thought I'd get it done before it would die. So, alright, maybe a couple divines. And then this doesn't matter. It's nothing. All right, and then lastly, I think we have some chances for these down here. And yet again, we fail. All right, there it is, boys. Appreciate you guys. Like, subscribe, comment, all that kind of stuff. And we'll see you on the next one. Peace.